All right, we're going to take it from the top. There are people that are just starting to come in now. So we are going to begin once again and kick off the webinar. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're happy to have you here with us this morning at the Doral Business Tech webinar. We'll be here until about 11 a.m. today to discuss how to help small businesses develop and strengthen their e-commerce business tools. Small businesses like yours. Thank you for joining us. We are very fortunate today to have with us a distinguished panel of experts to share their expertise with us and with you. And in just a few minutes, we will hear from them. Let me just quickly go down and let you know who we've got. We've got Mr. Vicente Pimienta, the CEO at Digisults and Grow with Google Digital Coach for the Miami area, is with us today. He's going to be speaking about tools for website enhancements. We also have Mr. Rob Vasquez, Chief Security Officer, Clarium Managed Services, who will be speaking about his area of expertise, cybersecurity. And also from Miami-Dade College, we're very fortunate to have with us Dr. Cynthia J. Bice, the Dean of Faculty and Chief Academic Officer of Miami-Dade College West Campus, as well as her colleague Eduardo Salcedo from the faculty at the MDC West Campus Department of School Pathways, School of Engineering and Technology, and they'll be speaking about Miami-Dade College's internship program. We also have with us some very important representatives from the City of Doral IT department. We have Gladys Gonzalez, our IT director. We have Carlos Olivares, our IT assistant director, and Sergio Fernandez, our IT security manager. And they'll be on hand to help us answer any questions we may have later on in the Q&A section of this presentation. And if you do have questions, you can go and add those questions to the Q&A right there on your screen, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end of the presentations. So before we begin with the presentations, it is my privilege and honor to introduce to you the gentleman who will be giving the welcoming remarks today, a person who really needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. Our mayor, the City of Doral Mayor, Mr. Juan Carlos Bermudez. Mayor.
Thank you, Manny. First of all, thank you, Manny, for helping put this together along with our IT and Public Information Office. It's a great event, and Vicente, Rob, Cynthia, Eduardo, thank you for agreeing to be panelists today, along with Gladys, Carlos, and Sergio from our IT team. One of the things that we've tried to do in these difficult times, obviously, is to help our small businesses, actually all our businesses, but in particular small and medium-sized businesses that can benefit from seminars like these. Technology, as we can see today, even those of us here in the room, is becoming, not that it wasn't important, it was extremely important before, but in these difficult times where social distancing is an issue, where the way to do business is changing in a way that may be more permanent than we would have even have imagined a year ago, it becomes more and more important to understand how to use not only technology to your benefit, but also how to protect yourself as a business, and definitely to be able to get the right people to be part of your team as you move forward with your business and with the use of technology. I can't think of any industry, whether it's the one that I'm in, which is the practice of law, who would have thought a year ago that we'd be having hearings via Zoom for lawyers. So it's been a learning curve for a lot of people in the industry, to anything as basic as retail or even restaurants, who today have to have a great technological podium to be able to meet the needs of the restaurant, to be able to meet their sales. So thank you again for joining us. We're going to hand it over to the experts. I'm excited about it. It's a great opportunity for us to learn about this. We will have more of these as we move forward in these special times. I know Manny can fill you in on some of that as we move on today. But I hope that you join the City of Doral as we continue to try to make the business environment for our residents, our businesses, and our visitors the best environment possible in these difficult times. And hopefully we can learn things today that we can use moving forward. Back to you, Manny.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you for making time to be here with us today. Well, we're going to begin the program today with Vicente Pimienta, CEO at Digisalts and certified Google digital coach in the Miami area. As a CEO at Digisalts, Mr. Pimienta is able to help businesses transition from traditional commerce into digital commerce. As one of only 11 Grow with Google digital coaches around the country, Mr. Pimienta plays an important role in a Google program designed to breach the digital divide for underrepresented communities. And the Google Digital Coaches program is designed to provide business education to diverse communities and provide equal opportunity for all business owners and entrepreneurs to grow and thrive online. Mr. Pimienta was recently awarded the top 100 marketing and advertising leaders at MadCon 2020. It is our pleasure to introduce Mr. Vicente Pimienta and turn it over to him. Mr. Pimienta, thank you for joining us, sir.
Well, thank you very much for this great opportunity, Manny. It wouldn't have been possible without you. Thank you to the mayor, to the city staff, and everybody here, to the panelists for this great opportunity. I must start by saying that my company, Digisalts, it's in Doral, so I'm part of Doral. I'm very proud of that. So as part of my career, I've been online doing internet services since 1996. So I've seen the internet before Google and after Google. So it's like before Christ and after Christ for businesses, you know. So it's been quite a change, and it's my honor, and I do it with great love to share these tools that when I started, they helped my business grow, and now I'm on behalf of Google sharing this information. So it's empowering information, and I want you to understand or recognize that information is power. If you know the Lotto winning number for next week, you have power in your hands. So information is power, and the ability to learn is your superpower. So we all have superpowers if we look at it this way. And I want you to activate your superpowers today because I only have 15 minutes to share some tools. And I just picked 3 tools. We're here to see how can you improve your website. However, what you really want is not improving your website. What you really want is results. And I'm going to give you 3 things you can do to get results around your website, because there's nothing that you can do to your website to get results alone. You have to combine things. I call it the missing links. You have to combine several tools to be successful. I wrote a book, it's on Amazon, called Online Marketing Essentials, The Missing Links. And it talks about how to combine all these tools. It's like a puzzle into your strategy. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let me see if I can share it now. And you tell me if you can see it. Can you see my screen? Can you see the Meet Our Digital Coaches?
We can see it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, first, I want to share with you our website, the Google Digital Coaches, or now it's Grow with Google Digital Coaches. Here, you can come and click on the Miami and see all the workshops we are going to have. Right now, I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to invite you to come to 4 events that we're going to have for the Doral residents. These are 24, the 15th of October, 5 November. You see, we talk about habilidades digitales, su negocio en Google, cómo alcanzar clientes. These go really deep, and I'm just going to invite you to register and come to these 1 hour. This is 4 hours of training free for you. So the first tool I want you to recognize for your website, it's very important that your website has traffic, right? So the first tool that you need to have is a business profile called Google My Business. Here's like a mini website for your website. If you don't have a website, this is your first step. You can actually build your profile like you have your Facebook profile for your business. You need to have one on Google My Business. It's very important. Once you're there, you are being recognized by Google, and that makes your business show on the map. Have you ever gone to Google and searched for some service or product and you see a map with businesses around you? This is what gets your business on the Google map. So this is the first thing I recommend. It's a very powerful little profile that has links to your website. It has feedback, so customers can leave positive feedback. You can upload images. It has a blog, and it also has a messenger. So it's very important to have this. And I want to share something that happened to me a few months ago. I had a flat tire, and now the vehicles don't have a spare tire. It blew up, and so I had to buy a tire. And if it's not for this, when I look for a tire, the map showed me the closest tire store. I was able to send a message to the owner. He replied. I took a picture of the tire, and he told me I have it. And I was able to get my service, give him the business because of this little platform, the communication. So this is very important, and you can put 3D tours. If you have a restaurant, it's magnificent. You have to be listed here, and this has a link to your website. So this is going to bring traffic to your website. Remember, we want results. So we want to have first traffic. The second thing we need to understand is what is going on in our website. What's happening? We have to learn from the traffic of our website, the keywords that people are typing to find your website. So we recommend Google Analytics. Google Analytics will create reports for you. It will measure everything. En buen español, es lo más chismoso que hay para el website. It will know exactly how many people went to your website, where are they coming from what country, how much time they spent on your website, what keyword they are typing to reach your website. So this is very important, the analytics, and it will give you like the conversion rates. If you have a document or you want them to sign up or download something, you can measure so many things and create reports that they will send you via email. So this is very important. If you don't know what's going on your website, what pages are your customers coming in and what pages they are leaving your website, what traffic are they having inside your website, is the first thing we need to understand, because now we know how much time they're spending, and that is very important. Today, the visitors have very little time. They have very little time. So another thing that you want to have is a very fast loading website. And for that, there's another tool called Google Test My Site for Google. And I will talk about them on the 4 webinars that we're going to have with the city of Doral in the next 4 months. So it's amazing what you can learn from these tools and then adapt. And it will measure your strategy. And once you have your business profile in Google My Business, if you have WordPress, there's a little plugin that you install in WordPress, and it'll connect to your Google Analytics. And it's fantastic. It's very easy to install. And the third one is Google Ads. You need now to put advertising on your website. And you cannot rely on search engine optimization alone for several reasons. Search engine optimization, you must know what you're doing to be ranked among the top. If you pay somebody, it could be expensive. And the third thing is that the algorithm that the search engines use changes frequently. So you might pay somebody to be on the top, the algorithm changed, and now you're on the bottom. So you cannot rely 100% on those. This is not, I'm not telling you not to do SEO, but advertising is pay-per-click is so much better and have so many stories, because you can create your own ad and decide who's going to see your ad by behaviors, or maybe by territory, or and by country, by state, by county, by zip code. It's so specific, and then you add the keywords that you want. And this is what I recommend, and it's a challenge. I want to challenge you because our community, after 3 years, I've done over 100 workshops in person in the city, and I've learned that our community sees advertising as an expense and not as an investment. And you will be surprised if you put a little bit of money into your future. And I'm going to challenge you. If you are like me that goes to this expensive coffee shop and we pay $5 for one coffee, right? We've all done that. It's $5 a day. That's $150 per month on coffee. If you're like me, that we like 2 coffees a day, you're spending $300 in coffee per month. That's a car payment. That's a car payment. So I challenge you to brew your coffee in your office or your home and use those $5 a day to put it in advertising. The minimum you can put in ads is $1 a day. So put $5. You won't believe what this can do for your business. I've had people come to my workshops, take the challenge, put their $5 coffee per day, and they come back saying they closed deals. A realtor sold a house because she put the $5 her coffee money in her future, in her business. You know what she's doing now? Putting her lunch money and her dinner money into ads. So that's how powerful these tools are to elevate your website, because your website alone is not going to do it. You need to add advertising, learn what's happening with the traffic inside your website, and have a profile on Google My Business so your business is shown on the map. Literally, we're going to put your business on the map, on the Google map. So these are the 3 tools that I recommend. And if you want more, to learn a little bit more, we have, again, this is you can see the bit.ly link there. You can register. We're going to have 4 free events. This is 4 hours. Deep information to help you thrive in these difficult times. We're going to talk about how to work remotely. I'm going to teach you how to use the Drive and how to do spreadsheets and documents and presentations online, and you can collaborate with your team members or your customers. You can present them the proposals and share this information online. We're also going to show you how to do step by step to put your business on the search and on the map with Google My Business. We're also going to teach you how to do advertising. This is the 3rd one. And the 4th one, how to use YouTube to grow your business. Did you know that YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world? Why are we not on YouTube? This is so important. Today, nobody likes to read. Video is all today. And inexpensive videos will go so much farther than expensive productions, because now the customer knows. They can smell when they're spending $1 million on an ad, or it's a real person talking from the heart with a phone telling you their testimony. So there's no excuse now about budgets or anything. YouTube is free. Your phone camera is free. So pretty much integrate all of these tools into your website. Did you know you can put a YouTube video and copy it and put it on your website? You see how the missing links, I'm showing you how to link other tools to your website. Remember, I want to share my last thought, because we only have 15 minutes and I think I'm over. Once we thought that the universe or the solar system was going around the Earth, right? Geocentric, I'm sorry. And then they said, no, it's the sun, so it's heliocentric, right? So your strategy is not social media centric, it's web centric. Your website is the center of your strategy. You know why? Because if you put all your eggs on Facebook, remember MySpace? Remember MySpace? That is happening to Facebook now. So what is not going to change is your website, your domain. You own your own domain on your website, and that will never change. You can bring people from LinkedIn, you can bring people from Instagram, from Facebook, from YouTube to your website. But if Facebook goes down, you still have your website and your strategy, and we'll use TikTok or whatever is next. But your website will never change. So that's the information I have today. I ran out of time. I hope you sign up for the workshops for Doral, and thank you again to the Major, Manny, and all the IT staff that has made this possible. And I'll see you in the next webinars. And like I always finish, have a Google day, all right? And you reply, YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicente. I think we'll all have a Google day every day, it seems to be. Thank you very much for your presentation. And also, once again, I want to reiterate, you'll see there on your block there where it says handouts, you can find the handout for the Grow with Google webinars that Vicente will be presenting on September 24th, October 15th, November 5th, and December 3rd. They will be en español. So please let your friends and colleagues know that is going to be happening on those dates, and there's the flyer for you. Now we'd like to continue with Mr. Rob Vasquez, Chief Security Officer at Clarium Managed Services. He is a recognized industry leader of global information systems and cybersecurity, as well as a writer and consultant. Mr. Vasquez has over 30 years of experience in all facets of data delivery, and in 2000, he was credited for designing the largest secure network in the Southern Hemisphere alongside Boston Consulting Group. And as CSO of Clarium Managed Services, he has led the company's rapid growth in local and global markets. He's a regular writer and speaker on many topics surrounding cybersecurity, compliance, and digital disruption. And most recently, he has participated in a panel of experts, including the U.S. Department of Justice on cybersecurity for minority-owned businesses. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Rob Vasquez. Rob, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for coming to the webinar this morning and discussing this very interesting topic and ongoing menace that we are dealing with regarding security. Particularly this year has been a very difficult year, not just in dealing with the pandemic, of course, but also with the significant increases in attacks that have kept everyone at Clarium up late at night, working with several small, medium businesses that have transitioned to the teleworker model, and as such have created more opportunities for bad actors in all parts of the world. So it's something that I'm hopeful that we can have a quick discussion. I've put together 6 tips that seem to be the ones that are most effective in combating this problem that we're dealing with. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir, we can see.
All right. Let me start with a comment that was made by the department, with Interpol. I lost my screen here for some reason. Let me see. Just actually a few days ago, Jürgen Stock, who's the Secretary General of Interpol, typically Interpol doesn't come out and make public statements like this. They, as you all know, are an international law enforcement agency. But the situation has gotten to a point where Interpol is now making public statements. They're putting out things called purple notes, which are geared towards the commercial security industry as well, and seeing what can be done within the confines of the information that they're providing. But basically, cyber criminals are developing and boosting their attacks at an alarming pace, exploiting the fear and uncertainty caused by the unstable social and economic situations created by COVID-19. So just some indicative figures. There's been a severe spike in cybercrime since the coronavirus pandemic commenced. Attacks have increased on average 33%. Just in March alone, when we started with this pandemic, there was 118.7 million attacks. Phishing attacks have increased 59% worldwide. Impersonation detections have increased 30.3%. Malware detections 36%. Malicious URLs, those are the domains that you click on that deliver malware. Those have increased by 22%. So all in all, it's just it's been a pretty horrific year with what is cyber crime. If you look at this from a distribution perspective and types of attacks, phishing has flip-flopped from ransomware as now the #1 this year in 2020. And that is due to the fact that there's been a lot of successful campaigns that have leveraged the pandemic, such as false emails from the World Health Organization, from even the Department of Florida, Department of Health in Florida. A lot of those have been hijacked and mimicked to deliver, different types of bad things, if you will. What are the cyber criminals after? To trick victims into transferring sensitive data or funds, personal or corporate, to their accounts, to steal credentials so they can infiltrate your business and compromise. Sorry, keep losing that. The most common attack prior to COVID-19 was ransomware. As I said, that's flipped. Bad actors are now stacking. What this means about stacking is that you take one type of attack and you, for example, a malware, and then you add another attack to it. There's one that we're working with actually right now that's going around called Neshta. It's a Russian piece of malware that actually embeds itself within legitimate files. So this makes it very, very difficult to find, even with very advanced tools. What it does is simply appends itself to a legitimate file and then establishes what's called command and control, which then sends information back to Russia. So what they're trying to do is basically just gather as much information as they can and put it into some type of database where they'll either later sell it, transact it in some way, or use it to gain access. Techniques, email masquerading as government announcements. That's huge this year. This is something that we've seen just a lot of. Operational and industry disruption, hidden malware. So that's what I was just discussing around Neshta. False advice and cures. This is big with the pandemic. False charities. Please donate. We've got a loved one that needs money as a result of the pandemic. And then fraud that goes beyond business email compromise. So they may target different products that they did prior to the crisis. For example, Zoom, I'm glad we're using GoToMeeting today. Zoom has been heavily targeted as well, as a form of entry. So let me get to the 6 key steps that we would like to recommend to everyone, particularly if you're a teleworker or a small business. These slides are more geared towards teleworker because that's just who we're dealing with most right now, is helping firms adjust to working from home. But all of these can be applied all the way pretty much in any business size. So number 1, I always like to start with this. It's unbelievable that in 2020, even a lot of the clients that we onboard at Clarium, we find out that the backups are not sufficient, right? That they're taking one backup a week or every night. The rotations are not quite there, and they're just not sufficient. So I like to start with this. This is just, for us, is critical. Making sure that you have effective backups. And what I mean by effective is following something called a 3-2-1 backup strategy. 3-2-1 means simply having 3 copies of your backup, 2 of them in real time, one, for example, on a USB drive, one on a different hard drive, but in 2 different medias, and then one being air-gapped. Air-gapped simply means that it's inaccessible or offline. So if you do get hit with a ransomware attack, an encryption or something like that, you always have a copy that is fairly complete. I would say no longer than a month of since you took that backup, and that is off-site, either on a cloud that is in a disconnected state, or using a cloud provider that copies it from one cloud to another in a disconnected state. So there's a couple of different ways of doing that, but making sure that you follow a 3-2-1 strategy with an off-site and air-gapped copy is the most successful way of doing this. And you can do this with Google Cloud and OneCloud. All the different cloud providers have ways that you can do this using third-party tools. So this is just an example of what typically happens, and there's this sort of misconception that just by having a backup in Google or in Microsoft or Azure, etc., that data is actually secure. So if you look at sort of here, you have the user receives an email, opens a phishing link, the virus is automatically delivered. All files are then encrypted locally, so at your home, etc., and then those are synced to Google Drive, which then goes ahead and spreads the virus, and all files in Google Drive are replaced with their infected version. So that's what I'm saying. This point right here is very key, making sure that you always have an air-gap backup and recovery strategy of your data, right? So data is really who you are, it's your business, and losing it, as unfortunately happened to one of our clients this year in June, that lost 40% of their data, and they are a pretty successful real estate management company down here in South Florida, and it nearly put them out of business. So it's a very serious matter, and we want to again implore that backups they're healthy. You have them; they've been scanned, and backed up with significant frequency. Step 2, train your employees to fight cyber attacks. Number 1, be skeptical. I'm skeptical of every email, and I think that's just as you continue to sort of develop this discipline within yourself, be skeptical. If you're receiving an email from an unknown sender or familiar people that don't normally email you, if the mayor doesn't normally email you, then you might want to double check that, or your physician, or anyone. Don't click on links or open attachments from those senders. Don't forward emails to coworkers. Examine the sender's email address, ensuring it's from a true account. And the easiest way to do that, the way that I do the most, is I just hover over the from address, right? It's not always foolproof. They've actually figured out ways to impersonate the from address as well in the more sophisticated attacks. But typically, if you hover over it and you go towards the end of the email address on the from, you'll see that it usually won't be whoever they say they are. So, and it won't end with .gov or .com or something like that. So those are quick things to look. It's just kind of hovering over the from address. The other one is grammatical errors. All right. So in the text of the email, there's usually a clear sign of fraud. Almost all these attacks originate from countries where there's English grammar errors, cultural nuances. And what I mean by that is that and looking at when we were dissecting the Florida Department of Health email that was going around, we noticed that the grammar was in proper British English. The Department of Health in Florida does not use proper British English, right? They use U.S. English. So those are things that if you see like program spelled with 2 M's and an E at the end, sure shine, it's absolutely, it's fraudulent, right? So between the sender's email address and the grammatical errors and the use of English, it's those things right there are pretty key to pretty quickly spotting a fraudulent phishing email. So, and here's actually a real one that came in. This is from the World Health Organization. And as you can see, there's a no reply here. And if you follow this through and hover, you would have seen it went to basically an alphanumeric domain name with a dot TV or something like that. Obviously, it's not from the WHO. Also, the use of dear sir, typically that's not what it is. And actually, also from anything that is governmental, law enforcement or health organizations, they're usually not going to tell you to click on a button, right? That's another sure sign to further evaluate this email with your IT department or whoever looks after security before you click. Don't ever click these things if you're not sure, because you will absolutely infect your machine. Step 3, advanced endpoint protection. 90% of cyber attacks enter the business through an unprotected endpoint. So an endpoint is a desktop PC, tablet, smartphone, anything like that. Once they're in, then that's how they move around. So whatever software you're using to protect yourself, you want to make sure it has these 3 things. Anti-exploit technology, which there's right now on average, there's probably 4 or 5 billion malware variants that are alive around the world. So the bad software, right? To deliver that software, there's only about 26, or now I think 27 now, different methods that they can use. That's a lot easier to work with than 4.5 billion. So if you can nip the 26 or 27 different methods, and that's the anti-exploit technology, you can pretty much get around that. Another thing is that whatever tool you're using should also do threat cloud sampling. So that's where it sends a sample of whatever's infecting your machine to the cloud, and then gets a quick sample. Usually this happens in real time. And also behavioral recognition. If it's something that you normally don't do, and you're clicking on or doing something outside of your normal behavior, we call it machine learning. That should be another feature that's contained within that type of software. Number 4, this is a real simple thing you can do even today, is to turn on multi-factor authentication. This is very simple and very similar to what you basically have in your bank, for example. They'll give you a 6-digit code. You'll go ahead and confirm, and that's what we call multi-factor authentication. You can turn it on in Google. You can turn it on in Microsoft Office with 2-step verification, social media, and e-commerce websites and platforms like eBay, Amazon, and others. Number 5, VPN software. By now, a lot of you might have probably heard about this. Here's some quick attributes that you should have in that. 256-bit encryption, source region and IP address. This is to stop, for example, Russia from being inside of your tunnel. VPN rules and multi-factor again, and what we call SAML authentication. And I'll make this presentation available after the presentation, so you guys can have access to these notes. And lastly is software updates, right? So it's very important, and this year in particular, with what's been happening with all the breaches of Zoom, as people have been using Zoom and others, I'm just picking on Zoom, but making sure that it seems like Zoom has been pushing out updates just about every other day. It's very important that you go ahead and go ahead and take the update, because they're trying to move as quickly as the bad actors in plugging different holes and what we call attack vectors. So please ensure that whatever updates are available, also that you turn on in Windows active hours, and ensure that Windows updates are pushed to your PC. You should be up to date on every software within whatever you use at home or in your office. Consider COVID-19 2020 as an ongoing test of resilience. Emerge stronger and more secure. So that's what we would like for all of you to get out of this, with this very challenging year that we've all been going through. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And again, we'll make this presentation available afterwards, so you guys can check out the notes at your leisure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you very much. That's a lot of great information, and We really, really appreciate the time and taking the time to give us all that information to help protect us all. Now we're going to continue with Dr. Cynthia J. Bice, Dean of Faculty and Chief Academic Officer of Miami-Dade College West Campus. Since January 2018, she's the inaugural dean. Prior to this role, she served for over 10 years as full professor and dean of education at Lindenwood University. She has over 25 years of experience in education and worked in the logistics and airline industry for 12 years. Dr. Bice currently serves on an advisory board for empowering youth leadership and was awarded the Icon of Education by Ingram's Business Magazine in 2016 due to her work initiating business partnerships and mentoring programs. She will also be joined by Eduardo Salcedo, a faculty member at MDC West Campus Department of School Pathways, School of Engineering and Technology. And he is an expert on security policy, blockchain technology, and sharing economy. He's also worked in the private sector in airline, retail, and hospitality industries. He became a full-time faculty member at MDC West Campus in 2020, and he's currently serving as the Kickstart Program faculty lead for the Help Desk Technician Certificate Program. So now we pass it on to Dr. Bice. Dr. Bice, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Good morning. It's certainly my pleasure. I'm only sorry that I can't be in your lovely facility. The city of Doral has one of the most wonderful city buildings that I've ever visited. So thank you for inviting us. So my portion of this is going to be just introducing you a little bit to the opportunities that our beautiful West Campus in Doral would have to offer as far as, you know, the students and what they could be potentially capable of as far as supporting the local Doral businesses. So just as an overview, I want to let you know what we are now offering at West Campus. As you know, it became an official campus in January of 2018, which is when I arrived. And since then, we now actually offer a full Bachelor of Science there, a Bachelor of Applied Science in Supervision and Management. So I'm not going to read all the slides to you, and I can certainly make these available to you later. But these are some of the finished products of folks who might be completing the Supervision and Management degree. They're going to be employed, as you already know, in many of these businesses listed here, which obviously there's many of these businesses in the Doral community. The supervision and management with the HR concentration is something we offer at West Campus. And again, just some of the different types of jobs that this degree would lead into. And again, keeping in mind as I'm showing you this, that the folks that are in these degrees certainly would be people who potentially could be utilized as interns in different companies of Doral. And I'm a real proponent of that idea. My daughters actually have benefited greatly from those internships and particularly paid internships, which led to their full-time jobs after college. One of the newest programs that we're offering now is the supply chain management. Again, very key to the location in Doral. And we just, again, hired a new faculty that will be joining us August 31st, who's been an expert, worked with Perry Ellis and others in the Doral community in the field of logistics and supply chain. And so we're very, very excited to be kicking this off too. And as you can see, we'll be bringing lots of opportunities for us to be able to connect students to businesses in Doral. Here's again some jobs directly relating to supply chain, which I'm probably preaching to the choir in this group, but as you know, lots of these jobs are available in the area of Doral. We also have college credit certificates. The help desk support is what Professor Salcedo is going to be talking to you about. So I'm going to kind of skip over that very quickly and let him talk to you about that in these two slides. But we also have another new development in a credit certificate, mobile applications development. And these particular students are getting trained to be able to work in these areas as well. And then also digital marketing. In fact, we have a new Kickstart program like the help desk technician beginning in the fall for our digital marketing program. So some of the jobs directly relating to the digital marketing certificate completers would be in some of these areas. So one of the other things that we added, I was able to secure a grant earlier this year, and so I've been able to hire a part-time internship coordinator, and her name is Elena Trubia, and she is phenomenal. She's way overqualified for that job. She's got a background in law. She's served as a lawyer. She's a psychologist. She's phenomenal, and she's just a very engaging person and very nice young woman. And she is already doing tremendous work connecting many of our students in our degree and certificate programs to internship possibilities as well. And I can give you also her information. So at the end of the day, we have lots of students who are seeking potential jobs, obviously after they complete their program, but also during their program. And I can attest to this. I have a personal testimony. My oldest daughter, I used to be a high school counselor in my old life, in another life, and so I preached this all the time, and I was always making connections with the local higher ed institutions and technology institutions. But I don't ever remember directly talking to my daughter about this, but for whatever reason, as soon as she was honestly a senior in high school, she started seeking out internships, and she had some phenomenal internships. And the last one being with Microsoft, and it was a program that was phenomenal, got her into a 2-year rotation program. It paid very, very well also, but the skills that she learned in all of those internships were just phenomenal. And you always take a risk when you bring on an intern. Hopefully, you're hoping they're going to stay if they're very, very good. But you also, have the risk that they're going to build up their skills and then leave to a better opportunity. But at the end of the day, everybody is where they're supposed to be at the time they're there. And I think that whatever we can do to be that connection for the city of Doral, I just want to build that relationship into a very strong and lasting relationship that we can help make those connections for our local lovely city of Doral, which has so many opportunities for our graduates at the West Campus, Miami-Dade College West Campus. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Professor Eduardo Salcedo. He's very new as well. He's been working with us since January. He's a newcomer, but he's been working with the college longer as an adjunct professor. And he is just a lovely person to talk to as well. And he has a lot of information to share you about our most recent help desk technician, which is also in our Kickstart program. And just a little tidbit about that program, our students are actually getting paid thousands of dollars to actually be a part of this program. So it's advertised on our website right now as far as getting into the Kickstart program in the fall. They come into the program and they're getting paid tuition, but also paid to be in the program. You can't beat that, especially during these challenging times. So Professor Salcedo.
Thank you, Dean Bice, and thank you everyone in the city of Doral for the opportunity to showcase our program. I'm in charge of leading the CCC, or College Credit Certificate, for West Campus regarding the help desk technician program. And what it basically does, it's preparing students with two major certifications that are vendor neutral, meaning that they are not specific to one particular brand or operating system like Windows or Macs, but that they rather touch upon everything and prepare students to become entry-level IT techs. So the A+, as you can see there, I won't read it because you have this information on the web. A+ is basically helping people with problems in the operating system and their actual hardware or physical pieces. So we're training them by giving them free certifications and right now free courses, and like Dean Bice said, a stipend for them to take these courses and take the certifications. In the fall, we'll be starting another cohort, which will include the Network Plus certification, which delves a little deeper into how networks connect and what they, what they need to do in order to create a safe network for your companies. So those are some of the items that the certification prepares them for. We're working really hard in teaching them the necessary tools they will need to use in order to be successful and to take the exam at the end of the semester to show that they've learned and they know what we're talking about. Basically what the CCC is about is 4 courses. So because these certificates are rather extensive in terms of knowledge, we break them up in 2. The A+, one is the operating system part, the other one is the hardware part. Supporting Microsoft clients is basically a in-depth view of what Windows 10 is, which is what most of us use, and then another course in networking technologies, which prepares for the Network Plus. We're always looking for opportunities for students to become part of the Doral family. And so, like Dean Bice said, we have an internship coordinator that's helping them get opportunities after they take these courses. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Eduardo and Dr. Bice. And thank you to all our panelists that have shared their expertise and their time with us today. Mr. Vasquez, Mr. Pimienta. I also would like to thank the mayor, Mayor Bermudez, for taking the time to be here to welcome us today, and to our staff here from our IT department, Gladys Gonzalez, Carlos Olivares, Sergio Fernandez. Want to let you know before we go, we've got a lot of information on our website at cityofdoral.com. So feel free to check that out and look in there for more information about upcoming events. You should also go ahead and sign up with us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at City of Doral to receive information about events and activities, such as the Grow with Google webinar series that will be in Spanish beginning September 24th and continuing October 15th, November 5th, and December 3rd as well. And also, we are recording this, so we'll be sharing this on the city's YouTube page as well. If you have any further questions or any more information, you can email me at economicdevelopment@cityofdoral.com. And by the way, I haven't told you who I am yet. I'm Manuel Pila. I'm the economic developer for the City of Doral. And right on time, we're going to be wrapping this up. Thank you all for coming here and being with us here today and taking some time to learn about ways to develop and strengthen your e-commerce business tools here with us, the City of Doral. And it's my pleasure to have been the moderator here today for this event. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope you have a great, great day.
Have a Google day.
Have a good